Obviously, all the readers and the fans of First Comics News wouldn't let me get away without asking, how's the leg?
It's healing. It's not healed. That's a quote from my surgeon. It feels like it's on fire every day. Partly, probably because I'm on my feet. Like I was on my feet all day yesterday. I'm still wearing a boot, but that's mostly because I want people to recognize that I don't want them near my foot. I'm working hard to come back. It's a shitty injury. Not being able to walk, and like my entire calf on that side kind of shut down. So learning how to walk again is fucking frustrating. But I'm better than I was yesterday. I'll be better tomorrow, and hopefully I'll see everybody soon.
Thank you.
I love rose bread. I love things like that.
Should I keep going, or you?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm
the door.
I'm
Happy to.
okay, go ahead. Sorry.
I'll throw one to Jade. Now, well, thank you for joining us.
Yes, sorry guys.
It's a nice big piece of bling you have there.
Baby, right?
So, first TBS Women's Champion ever.
Yes.
And it's been a while. It's been 6 months you've been defending it. So how does that feel? I mean, you've really made it your own.
It feels great. I mean, I'm kicking ass. I'm making a name for this belt. I'm making a name for myself. I'm making a name for the women's division. I guess I'm just here to elevate and get better and have a footprint in wrestling in general. Just be a stepping stone for the next generation.
Well, that's inspiring. It's very cool.
So how are you guys enjoying your time at Comic-Con so far? I know that you probably haven't had a lot of time to go explore yet, but I mean...
so far so good. It's cool. I did a real small signing yesterday. It's never not cool to see an action figure yourself.
Yeah.
So it's cool to interact with fans, but it's also a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people here,
Yes, there is.
and believe it or not, I'm kind of an introvert. So it saps your energy, but in like the best way. I'm sure you guys understand. There's a lot of shit going on, right? And you got to be on. So I'm struggling, but I'm happy to do so.
Is there anything that you nerd out about in your spare time that we'd be surprised to know?
That you'd be surprised about?
No.
Basic. I think I still want to try to get out on the floor and actually look for comic books.
Okay.
That's what I'm about. And then I'll see like the toys is obviously like the cool thing, but I try not to. I feel like if I get one toy, I gotta collect them all, and it's just
You can just start collection after collection.
such a pain in the ass. Yeah, that drives my anxiety up.
I know during the time away from wrestling, you got into filmmaking, acting, tried the MMA. Have you ever reviewed for a comic book? And forgive my ignorance, I just don't know.
Yep, I wrote the Drax ongoing from Marvel. Did a one-shot with Jason Aaron. Thor story. I did to my own horn. I did a really funny Shang-Chi Master of Kung Fu one-shot. I've written for DC. I did a strange sports story about Chicago curses in sports. So I've dabbled.
It's cool. It's very cool that you self-actualized and took it on, not just as a fan, but your own voice in that. That's very cool.
So can you first talk a little bit about, I noticed there's a lot more creative freedom that AEW has and that TBS allows you guys to have. Is that refreshing to not kind of be trapped in a box, that you have like a little more freedom to do what you want, like with wrestling, with the personas, with everything?
That's one of the reasons why I chose All Elite Wrestling, is that we have control of our character. We can represent ourselves, our real authentic self. We can work outside the company. Everything that we're doing is from our hearts, and we're showing you exactly who we are, who we want to be. This is what we approved, and it's just refreshing. I never worked for another company, but I wrestle off pure emotion. I play basketball, so everything is just who I am. What you see is just an extension of who I am, and I appreciate that more rather than somebody telling me who I should be.
I can imagine.
It's super interesting, right? Like, to me, it's fascinating listening to somebody who she said she hasn't worked for another company. It's important for her to be able to work in a place where she can fully express herself. I think that's kind of what, to me, killed wrestling for so long. You know, everything was muted and toned down based on one person's perspective. You know, when you can't, you know, pick your own name, pick your own entrance music, it's very limited and it's very creatively stifling. You know, I look at territory days, and if you try to apply the way the other companies run stuff to the territories, like you wouldn't have Road Warriors, you wouldn't have Macho Man, Randy Savage, you wouldn't have all these other things because these individuals are the ones who create the characters. Jade is Jade, you know. We're not trying to say no. Your name is, you know.
Chili McFrost.
Yeah, Veronica Petterfield, you know, like whatever, some stupid ass name, and like, you know, we didn't saddle her with a song that she didn't like. You know, I think that's just a safer environment for, you know, if you take wrestling seriously and if you like what you do and you're an artist, I think it's a safer place to be because you can learn by trial and error. You learn by fucking up. You know, and if you're shackled and you're not even you get to perform, you wrestle, and you fuck up, you know, to me, like, I don't think you're gonna learn anything. You know, it's just too stifling. It's like walking around with like a wet rag on. You know, like you need to be able to have input in what you're doing. You know, because if you don't, I think it just tones everything down and makes everything you do not authentic.
Not a lot of work that goes into this. I kind of like what that's a lot of people's right.
Oh, thank you. Well, turn that on. Yeah. Say that again.
I love the Jade.
It's my Jade Buddha. I love Jade. I love Jade. I love your hair, by the way. I want to say that. It's just amazing. I dye my hair white every so often and try to get it as white as possible. I love it. Let's do the Billy Idol thing. I want to ask you, you have an action figure out, and you said this is the first company you've worked for. So what was that like, knowing that there are little girls out there and people being inspired and playing with your figure?
You know, it really didn't hit me until my daughter opened up, you know, my action figure and started playing with it and was like, "Mommy," well, she calls me Jade Cargill, so we have this thing right now where she's calling me Jade Cargill, and I'm like, my name is Mommy. You can say Mommy Jade Cargill, that's fine. My name is Mommy. So I was like, well, you can call the action figure Jade Cargill. You can call it that. And she literally like sleeps with my action figure. She wakes up with it. Like she carries it everywhere. I carry it everywhere. It's inspiring, and it showed me this is what I'm doing. Like I'm here for the little girls and the kids. Like that's what we're here for. We're here to let them be inspired to do this thing. And I feel like I'm a living, breathing superhero. You know. So and I tell my daughter that when I go to work. Like you know I'm a super villain. I'm like, listen, Mommy's going out to save the world. It's okay. Like I'll be back. So just seeing her have this action figure and playing with it, she's gonna be beating me up with it. Now I have your action figure, and so my daughter's gonna definitely do that. But that's great, you know. Like it's showing me that what I'm doing is working. So I never would think I would have ever had an action figure. It's my first action figure. CM Punk. I mean, I don't know how you felt the first time you got yours. You probably got so many.
Yeah, there's a few.
Yeah.
There's a few, but the first time I saw my action figures, you know, you for sure get a sense of, oh shit, I made it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great. Cool. Thank you.
So, I mean, you guys have some of the most dedicated fans in the world, where wrestling fans, they take things so seriously. I mean, do you guys ever read into a lot of social media, like fan reaction? I mean, what's been a memorable fan experience for both of you?
Memorable fan experiences, you know, when people tell me that, I heard it all day yesterday, I'm not exaggerating, every single person who came through the line to get my autograph said, thank you for coming back. It sucked without you. You know, you helped me through a tough time. And I always try to be in that moment because you get shuffled through a line. It's however many seconds long. I always try to engage properly to make sure that they know that I take that to heart. And I think it's an intimate moment. That's always cool. I never take that stuff for granted. You know, those are the important moments. You know, we're in these people's living rooms or on their phones, or however they watch. You know, we're in their homes every week. They watch us on television, and the brief 30 seconds that they get to tell you like, hey, this is super cool. My kids look up to you. I'm straight edge because of you. You know, all that shit is very, very deep.
Mine was when we were in Minnesota. It was snowing, and I was being rushed to record some pre-tape, and this guy wanted a picture with me, and I was like, I'm so sorry, I can't take a picture right now. Like after the show, I'll take a picture. He stayed there until after the show, and it snowed, and waited for a picture. That was the first time I was like, wow, like who does that? It's freezing cold out here. You're waiting for a picture. You waited until after the show. He didn't have a ticket. It was pay-per-view, so he didn't have any tickets to give. But that was probably my most memorable. I sat there for about 15 minutes just talking to him. Like, how was your night? Like, how are you doing out here? How did you make it? Like, do you need any coffee? Did you warm? It was just a great fan experience that he would even sit there and wait for me.
Thankfully, there's a lot worse than pulmonary embolism. I wonder if you could walk the floor, if people would think that you're dressed up like CM Punk.
I know.
I just imagine.
Right.
You look just like it.
Right, I get that a lot. You get that a lot. People are like, are you kidding?
Listen. When people come up to me and they go, can I ask you a question? And I go, well, sure. Does anybody ever tell you CM Punk? What am I supposed to say? Am I supposed to whip out an 8x10 and go, it's me? No, I just go, yeah, I hear that every once in a while.
Yeah.
And then they just look at me like they're confused, right? Like, just come up to me and say, hey, CM Punk, what's up? It doesn't have to be a fucking gotcha trick question.
Just like Jade Cargill,
Yeah, I hear that sometimes. Yeah. I don't hear that I look like Jade. I fucking wish. It's fucking goddamn arms. The legs, Jesus Christ.
So what is next for both of you with AEW and everything? I mean, obviously you're still healing. You're the champ. So
I just want to keep progressing, getting better. I want to be one of the best women wrestlers in wrestling in general. I want to go for the main title eventually when I'm ready. And I want to branch off and do community work, and I want to work outside with movies and definitely Marvel and DC and superhero, any kind of fight and crime movie I'm into it. Hopefully,
Going to Wakanda?
okay.
I know something, man.
So you were at the right place.
Yeah, right. But right now, wrestling's my foundation, and I'm chasing the main belt whenever I'm ready, and I feel like I've groomed myself and I've gotten better in the ring. I'm more charged up for that belt.
I'm just hanging out, trying to get this foot to be a foot again. That's my first step, and then we'll figure it out once it's a foot.
I have a question I'm dying to ask. Nobody in any of the press conferences, interviews, whatever, I've never seen anybody ask you this, so I'm going to ask it. You're in AEW, you're a wrestler, you happen to be married to a woman wrestler. Does she have any interest? Are we ever going to see her consider?
That's a question you got to ask her.
Is that it? I thought you might have some insight.
I do have insight, but it's a delicate thing, right? Like,
Sure.
I don't push it on her. She watches the show if it's on. And I watch every week and I take my notes.
Yeah.
And like sometimes she'll be like, oh, tell me when the girls are on. She's a big fan of Jade.
That would be a heck of a match.
I think women like Jade and Britt, especially, if she's ever gonna want to wrestle, I think they're the ones that can draw her in based on looks and ability, and the work and that. Will it ever happen? I don't know. If I can, it's not even if I can convince her. It's just it's a decision that she has to make, and if she does, I support it. If she doesn't, I support it. You know, she's busy as fuck doing a million other things.
Her book was great. Loved the book.
I mean, she writes nonstop, so she's got a million other irons in the fire and projects coming out. She wrote should be coming out soon. And, you know, I don't know. I can't. You know, it's hard. I can't really answer the question. You know?
Well, we would love her here, and we'd be so grateful if she does. Just throwing it out there.
All right.
So to kind of just bounce off of that before we wrap up, no, like, I mean, we've seen such an uprise of women in wrestling. I mean, now like we have women that are doing like main events and everything like that. And I'm sure that's been wonderful to witness as a female wrestler. I mean, sometimes I think, you know, my husband and I have discussed, we're like, okay, like, we think some of the women's matches are better than the men's matches, even. I mean, it's a thing, no offense, but what has that been like for you to witness?
It's been interesting. I mean, I main evented for a Rampage, which was a shock with Anna Jay. It was a great match, one of my best matches. You know, we're fighting for one spot on the TV show. You know, we have to maximize that. We have to put out our best foot for those matches so we can grow and hopefully have 2 matches on our main TV show. But it's one day at a time. So what we're doing right now, we're taking it, we're going to blow it up and do the best that we can do. And we're getting better as far as the women's division in general and just women's wrestling.
Absolutely.
So it's going to take time, but we're on our way.
As a female fan, that's been really great to see because I feel like it's been a bit understated for years, and now to see that like start rising up.
Well, I think women are starting to really stand up for themselves and just be like, you know, excuse my language, but fuck it.
Yeah.
You know, we're out here busting our ass just like the men, and you know, we need to be respected. And there's nothing wrong with that at all, you know, like, just to do this job in general, it can be mentally draining, and that affects a lot of things in your life. So the fact that women are starting to live in their truth and you know, take charge of things and demand more, it's a great thing to see.
Absolutely. Thank you for that.
Good.
Thank you.